This week's issue comes from the NCAA. They have rejected Oklahoma State's appeal and banned the Cowboys from the 2022 men's basketball postseason in a decision the school called unprecedented in the history of the NCAA. The penalty stems from the 2017 FBI investigation into college basketball corruption. Oklahoma State was given a level 1 violation involving former associate head coach Lamont Evans, who accepted over $18,000 in bribes to steal players from Oklahoma State and South Carolina, where he also spent time as an assistant coach. Evans was sentenced in June of 2019 to 3 months in prison. Take a listen to what Cowboys head coach Mike Boynton had to say yesterday.
On January 20th of 2020, I flew to Atlanta to do the first round of this process with the NCAA. The next day, we played OU here. It was important that I be there. I went to Atlanta for no reason, to cooperate with them, to cooperate with John Duncan and Sharika Montgomery and Russell Register. And then this year, on February 7th, while in Lawrence, Kansas, for a game, the day we played, we had an appeal hearing. And we cooperated. And we showed up. And we'd answered their questions. And we provided all the information they asked. I'm disappointed, disgusted, appalled, frustrated. But somewhere in Indianapolis, there's a group of people celebrating.
Man, I don't have a dog in the fight in this situation, but I can't help but take a step back and feel for Mike Boynton. This wasn't all his doing. This wasn't his fault. He obviously promised these players things that he can't deliver on now, and so he feels some kind of way.
It's incredulous. It's illogical. It's inconsistent from the NCAA. It's no surprise. This week's issue could be every week's issue because this organization, it's run its course. There's no need for it. And when you see decisions like this, it just brings you back to what are they even doing? Mm-hmm. How out of touch and tone deaf are they? Mm-hmm. This was a group of kids who are being penalized for something that they were in junior high when these penalties occurred. Lamont Evans was a guy who created no competitive advantage for the university there at Oklahoma State, was all about self, looking out for himself. Is everything wrong with college athletics in terms of trying to benefit off the backs of these young men and their talent? That's beside the point. This is a situation where now these kids who had nothing to do with this situation, -1, over $300, mind you, paid it back, reported it themselves, and yet still they go into a season on the brink of it starting being told what you're playing for will not exist. You have no chance to win a championship. The issues that this could create long-term for this university are unfortunate. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. This is not a level 1 penalty because it's not a level 1 crime. There needs to be logic infused to make these decisions. But above all of that, as we watch Coach Mike Boynton there, that's what's right with athletics.
Totally.
That's when we look at our baby boy Joey at 6 months, and if he's lucky enough to play basketball and have a scholarship, I want him to play for a guy like that. Not a Lamont Evans that was out there looking to benefit off these guys, but a guy like Coach Boynton who says and feels, not for himself. He wasn't crying for himself.
No, of course
crying
not.
for those players because they're robbed of an opportunity by an institution that should no longer be. Because they prove time and time again the legislation, how they rule, it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong, and these kids are suffering for it. But all I can say to Oklahoma State out there, keep your heads up because you got the right guy leading your program, and it's a shame the legislation leading this whole thing is the NCAA because they have no idea what they're doing.
Very well said. I don't understand why this keeps happening in college athletics where people are getting blamed for things that people before them did. It's unfair, and it's unfair to these kids and to these programs and how they're trying to build and move forward from these mishaps in the past.
These young men were kids. They were in 6th and 7th grade when this was going on. It's absolutely unbelievable. So heads up, guys. The best is in front of you in spite of this NCAA.
And hopefully there can be some sort of silver lining for Oklahoma State as they begin their college basketball season in just days, right? Maybe they can get better, and then next year they can come out with a bang. Unfortunately, it's not the best way to end a show, but that is where we are going to leave it today.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.